I'm Kate.
I'm Avon.
And I'm Sonia.
And today we're dishing with you from Hamilton's Bar and Grill, which is located at 233 2nd Street Northwest.
And today, in addition to all of this great food we have in front of us, we have a great Washingtonian. I say that because Tom Goldstein is with Aiken Gump. I said that right?
Yep.
He's with Aiken Gump, which is one of the prominent premier law offices in the city.
Premier.
But as well, I mean, you cover the Supreme Court, which is a very interesting thing to cover.
Oh, thanks.
You don't think most people find that interesting?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's a big Washington institution. Maybe people don't pay as much attention as they should because everybody's very focused on the Hill or on the president, that sort of thing. So we have our little niche.
Your little niche. I hear that you've wanted to cover this little niche since you were young.
In utero. About three. No, what I've always done for my whole career basically is the Supreme Court. So when I was in law school, I was an intern for Nina Totenberg at NPR, and then when I was a fourth-year associate, so 4 years into practice, I started my own law firm, and I've done basically just the Supreme Court all the time as a lawyer. I teach at a couple law schools. We have this website about the court, that sort of thing.
So what drew you to two of us at the same time?
No.
Quite you. No, but what drew you to your desire for the Supreme Court? Why that versus anything else?
Well, you know, it's obviously the highest court where the court's decisions affect everybody around the country. They do a lot of really big issues involving abortion, affirmative action, gay rights, religion, that sort of thing. They also have a bunch of kind of lamer cases.
Such as?
Well,
Miranda
if
rights?
you want to talk about, Miranda would be a big deal. If you want to talk about ERISA, if you want to talk about
at
diversity
some time I used to know
jurisdiction.
that.
Did you really?
I used to know
sorry.
what
Employment.
Right, very good. Excellent. But whatever. All of the cases have a consequence. And actually, when you have a really tiny law firm of just one or two people, Supreme Court cases actually a perfect fit because they just involve one legal question rather than huge numbers of boxes of documents and that sort of thing. So it just worked out really well.
Well, you started it with Nina Totenberg, so
Yes.
you're starting with sort of a media angle and then
Yes.
going law, and then now with your SCOTUS blog, back to media. So any sort of difference that you see with covering for traditional media and covering it for your blog, being the Supreme Court?
The nice thing about the blog is that we can be all Supreme Court all the time. Nina might be on the radio a couple of days a week, but we might write 10 different things a day. So we can have an incredible amount of focus. We also get to self-select our audience in the sense of people who are really kind of Supreme Court geeks like us, and they're really interested in every little trivial detail about what's going on at the court. And the nice thing about the internet, obviously, is that you can have your megaphone. If you really are interested in a topic, you can just spend the time and write. So I now have about 10 different people who work with me on the blog. It's kind of expensive in a sense. I spend about $150,000 a year out of pocket on the blog. But hopefully we're doing some public good.
Well, essentially you're a name brand in Washington. Everybody knows SCOTUS blog.
I don't know
Maybe
about
within the
that. Exactly.
Well, you were talking
The
about
four people who
Supreme
go with the
Court
sport.
geeks,
Right.
okay? Well, obviously there's a lot of them. If a major television network, which will remain unnamed, is considering creating a show around what you do.
Right.
So there must be a lot more Supreme Court geeks out there than we know about.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's great TV, and then there's really bad TV, and I'm not making any promises about whether this TV show is good or bad, but that's right. We are now at the stage of working on the final script for the pilot of this TV show about my practice. So that's...
Is it about you?
Yeah, is it
It's
fiction,
about me.
Yeah,
reality?
I mean,
Drama.
I don't know. This is a
Sitcom.
two-part episode, I think, this conversation.
Is it like Ally
I can't wait to have you
McBeal?
back.
Exactly.
Will you wear short
it's-
skirts?
I am wearing a short skirt.
Only they don't pay him.
It is about my law practice, and then a bunch of fictional things that make it much more interesting.
So who's going to be the new Supreme Court judge?
Justice, I think Elena Kagan, but Merrick Garland, who is just a couple blocks over from where we're at on 2nd Street in the D.C. Circuit, has a really good shot at it as well. I would say it's down to just a couple of people.
I only heard two names, though.
Yeah, Elena Kagan and Merrick Garland.
Okay.
Those are
That's
his
a
top
couple.
two.
Those are a
The
couple.
two
Top
horse
two.
race.
Right.
You're going to go with a couple.
top
That's
two.
true. You're right. Oh, lawyers always.
So does the president believe that it has to be? Everyone thinks that they've been saying that it has to be a woman.
Yes.
So you believe that's going to be the case?
I think it will. I don't think it has to be a woman in the, the president and I don't talk as much as we should. I've been very busy.
Call him.
But I would say that last time it was really an imperative. I think they had really decided, look, we're going to make this more than one woman on the Supreme Court. We're going to get back to 2. I think they think it would be really neat to get to 3. It would really show the president's commitment to women and women's groups. But it's not a like do or die kind of thing. It's a plus, but I don't think it's the end of the world.
And so you're going to just continue to your whole career on this path, or you think that someday you might
Modeling?
I don't know. That's really up to the clients.
Acting in your future,
acting
I
in the
guess, is what I'm
future.
asking.
Well, it's been suggested to me that I keep my day job. And so I'm not running away from the law. You obviously are trying to subtly suggest that I might want to think about a few other options.
No.
And that's noted. So I'll go tell my wife that basically the conclusion of the
I
post on
just
the
want to
Daily
know if
Dish
you're going to
was,
play yourself.
if you're really going to think about other opportunities, like I could work here, right? Really a lot of options. I appreciate
Your
that.
sits would
That's
be put
good.
to good work,
That's
perhaps.
a positive outlook on it. Most of the time, people are like, "You're just finished."
But a lot of people don't realize that they can actually go and watch the Supreme Court
Yes.
proceedings.
It's hard, actually, and that's why I think the Supreme Court should be televised.
Well,
'cause
it's-
there are only
oh, really? Do you?
I do, because there are only about 100 seats a lot of the days. And so you think about a country that has 300 million people or something, that makes it a hot ticket. It's not on StubHub. It's really hard to scalp. It's really...
But see,
you know,
I went a couple of years ago, and
Yes.
I got there really early,
Yeah.
thinking that it would take me forever
Right.
to get in, and I was the first person in line.
you were probably at one of my cases, one of the more boring
I think
cases.
it depends
No,
on
no.
what's behind.
There was a case a few weeks ago that people got in line at noon the day before.
Wow.
Well, I guess you're right. It depends on if
Depends
it's
on the
abortion,
case.
if it's
Exactly. If it's
immigration.
This was a gay rights related case about disclosing the people who'd signed up on a referendum.
Right.
And so it was it was a really big deal.
But
Is
so-
there a case that you are anxiously awaiting that you really want to come to the Supreme Court, and from any state or the District of Columbia?
Well, I'd say the biggest case that's kind of hanging out there right now is the gun rights case, which has been argued and is about to be decided, where the Supreme Court's going to say that there is a right to have a gun, not just in the District of Columbia, which they decided a couple of years ago, but this is a case from the city of Chicago, that state and local gun laws are restricted by the Constitution. I think people will care about that a lot. I think about the big cases because it actually drives a lot of people who come to the website. If there's on the day that the Supreme Court decided the big gun rights case, we had 300,000 visits to the website. People care about their guns.
Yeah,
You're not packing, are you?
Well, if you could monetize, this would be so amazing.
That would be awesome. If you could help me with that, I would be really
Oh,
grateful.
he's brilliant on that.
Yeah,
that right?
Well, yes, I am.
What have you been thinking about
All right.
lately? Well, now you've got the Supreme Court on our minds. Thank you
Okay.
for making us Supreme Court geeks.
No, thanks. Thanks very much for having me.
Thank you so much. Check out SCOTUS blog, and make sure to check us out here next time. See who we're dishing with right here on the District Dish.